So yeah, we are live. So hi, welcome everyone. This is today is Jan 8th, 2025, and a weekly dev meeting for us. So let's get started. I will be once again dropping this meeting minutes that you all hopefully can see on your screen, so that you have access to all the resources that we'll be discussing. You also can drop in your name in the attendees list and can add any PRs or issues that you are working on in Meshery repository to this items list itself. So, yep, please go ahead and write your name like these folks are. So before we'll be getting started with the agenda items, let me quickly introduce Meshery. So Meshery is one of the projects that is accepted into CNCF. It's actually CNCF's ninth fastest growing project, and is one of the projects that Layer 5 community is towards. And if you want to learn more about Meshery, on how you can use it in your projects or how you can contribute to it, you will find all the resources linked to the header of this docs itself. So once again, you will want to head on to this docs that you can see on your screen. Link is in chat. And now we'll also be following our tradition, and that is if you're joining this call for the very first time, you can take the stage and can give your quick intro about where are you calling from, how did you come to know about the community, and whether or not you've got any item to work on yet. So I'll be taking a look in the participants list. So Binming, is it the first time that you're joining this call? If yes, do you mind giving your intro?
Yeah, it's my first time to attend these meetings, and I
Welcome
just
to the call.
what
Yeah, you
and
are very welcome to the call.
all
Please go
right,
ahead.
all right, thank you. And I just got to know this community from Linux open source foundation. Yeah.
That's great. Do you also, would want to talk about the tech stack that you're most proficient in, and what's your favorite color maybe?
Uh, I'm I'm just getting started and just trying to get familiar with Meshery. I'm still getting familiar with you guys.
Fine. So I also see a couple of items from you, so we'll be sure to discuss them. Thanks a lot for your intro.
All right, thank you.
I see Ria in the participants list. So is it the first time that you are joining this call, Ria? If yes, can you please go next?
I'm joining this call for the first time, and I was currently working on this one issue, and so I wanted to help, and that's why I joined this call today, and also to say hi to the community. So I'm Ria. I'm in my final year of my undergraduate study at in Delhi, India, and yeah, that's about me.
Hi. So first of all, thank you for your intro and welcome to the call, Ria. We'll be making sure to get you help on your item. So thanks a lot once again.
Thank you.
Looks like we have another newcomer, that is Samiksha. So Samiksha, looks like you are up next.
Yeah, hi everyone. I firstly get to know about open source community from the conference that held in recently in Delhi, and one of my friend also suggested to me to start on working on open source projects. So I recently check out on Linux Foundation, where I apply some of the courses, open one of the open source. So after that, I get to after that I got a message from Lee on LinkedIn. So yeah, and we got connected on that, and I just set up that Messery on my local machine, but I haven't started yet. So I'm looking at a small repository and also debugging on that. Besides of that, I having 7 years of experience in ROR. And my recent company was Razorpay. Yeah, so I recently started Golang, also learning Golang. So yeah,
That's just
that's
awesome. So
yeah.
that's really wonderful that you have started engaging and also are trying to set up the project. It's really very good to know about that. I would also recommend that you, if you run into any issues, you utilize our community forum. So I'll be dropping a link to that in chat. So once again, thank you for your intro, Samiksha. Hopefully you will also grab some good first issues before you get off the call.
Okay.
Yep, so that's it for the newcomers. If you are yet to give your intro and are joining for the very first time, please go ahead and give your intro in the chat, and all will be making sure that you are feeling welcome right here. So with that, I'll once again go ahead by dropping this meeting minutes in chat so that for those of you who may have recently joined, they do have access to the docs. So you can write your name as attendees and can take a look at the agenda items. We will now be kicking off with the topics. The first one would be about this announcement. So there's this chat loop back of series going on from Linux Foundation side, where one of the CNCF ambassadors takes on one of the CNCF project and they walk you through it. And we will have this episode tomorrow for Meshery. So if you would like to take a look at that, link to the LinkedIn and YouTube events are right there in the docs, and I'll also be sharing in Zoom chat, so you have access to it. Let me quickly drop the YouTube link as well. So yeah, do take a look and comment. And then we have these standing agenda items. One of them is about component updates that I think Ankita will be, walking us through.
Yep, sure. Wait, let me grab my screen. Hello, everyone. So just a moment and then we should be good to go. Yes. So this is an ongoing initiative that we or task that we are working on, that is to migrate Meshery, which is currently on Material UI version 4, completely to Material UI version 5, and make it compatible with Systent, which is one of our design systems. So every week here in the Meshery Dev call, we take a look at the progress and how far along are we, or how close are we to getting to MUI v5. Here's a status report that I've got to share. So we had a total of 15 pages, of which 7 by far have been merged. Last week it was 4, we've got 3 more merged. We had one to do that's already been fixed and merged, and there's just one merge conflict remaining from the previous 3 that were there last week. So we are at a 97 approximation percentage at this point. As soon as we get these 7 PRs merged, like tested and merged, we should be completing our MUI v5 merging successfully. Our component stats, as shared last week, they're all already on MUI v5. And this is what the next target for us looks like. So these are the PRs that are open at this point that need to be merged. Yep, and that's a brief of how far along are we with this migration. I'll probably drop a link to a sheet that would help all of you understand which page, how far along, and the associated PRs that you can also check out. So any questions that we might have up here?
If you spend any time inside the spreadsheet and end up changing the merged status from the orange color to green color, it'll fairly effectively communicate where we are. So we've just, at this point, you're reporting the work in terms of pull requests, but each of those pull requests has a one-to-one like relationship with a page in Meshery UI. So essentially, the handful of open pull requests represents the handful of like in progress pages. And it sounds like we're not too far off. It's not like, so for each page that has components that are being migrated, which is every page, a pull request there has been work done on each, and so essentially all the initial work has been done, and some of the work has been completed, some of that has been released. Wait, is that true? Some has been released? Like, so we have.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. a few of them are live and they're being used at this point.
Okay, I hesitated there for a moment because I just couldn't remember. Antoinette has told me like 5 times or 6 times between React, Node.js, and Material UI and the various versions, and Next.js as well, I think. Which ones are compatible between that matrix, as well as which ones were incompatible, and so at what point did we have to, at what point could we move some items forward and other items needed to be whole hog or done entirely at once? So this isn't one of those. That's why I asked the question. But that's great. So some of these have been completed. They've been released. There was a release earlier today. Abid will speak to it. All of the initial work has been done. Some of it is just yet to be reviewed and merged. Some of it is to be reviewed, maybe some feedback taken in. So it's reasonable to think that maybe, on this coming Wednesday, a week from today, it'd be like a reasonable expectation that maybe we're done. Maybe we're on the other side.
Yes. That's what we are aiming for as well, hoping to get the boat sailing.
Yeah.
And probably announce that we are already on V5.
Yeah, I'm not
Next week.
sure if Antoinette will know what to do with herself when that day comes, because it's been like over a year since she's been evaluating it, looking at it. She's been, and then any number of people, and Ankita in specific here, have been worked to push this forward. So we'll have to celebrate. We'll all just run around naked. We'll turn the webcams out or something. I don't know. We'll do something. We'll do something. Not that. We won't do that, but we'll do something. Oh, please. We're not recording this, are we? Okay. You can go back, edit this. Good. This is exciting.
That's all that I had for the progress here. And for the earlier question that you had, once we are on V5, we can update the next version. So we were we were stuck. We weren't able to go ahead with the updated next version because we weren't on V5. So that's something that would follow up.
Thanks a lot, Ankita. So I would assume that we'll be covering your item next up as we are done with the sending agenda items. All right. So next up would be this release planning, and so there's this spreadsheet in which we track all the testing. So there's recently has been major overhaul in testing, whether they are on Meshery unit testing or UI end-to-end testing. So this is a spreadsheet where you can get idea of which areas are tested and which are yet to be tested. I'll be dropping this spreadsheet in chat. And this is also an area that makes for a major portion of 0.9 roadmap. So I'll be dropping link to roadmap as well in chat. And so this would be right time for any one of you who may be interested to get engaged in this particular effort. And we also have had one of the training session on testing a couple of weeks back in the dev call itself. You also can refer to that. I'll be dropping the link in chat. So yep, you will find the links in chat, and do let us know in the respective Slack channels. And by the way, if you are not yet a part of the Slack community, I'll make sure that I drop Slack link in chat. So yeah, do sound off there in Slack. Now we'll be starting with topics, and I will be going through one of your items that you have listed here. So anyone who would want to also have their items discussed, you also can follow the same plan, and that is just add the link or the item, in this docs. First is from Ankita about MUI V5 migration. So did we just cover this, or do you have anything extra that you want to share, Ankita?
It's related to one of the standing pages that was remaining. So I think we can skip it for now and move ahead.
Yeah. All right.
I'll drop the link in the chat so that others can take a look though.
Thanks a lot, Ankita. Next up, I'll take a look if we have Adi Akhilesh with us on the call. And looks like as if we are missing them. So we'll be sending a reminder in case they join, we'll be going through the item. But we do have Bin Ming with us on the call with the 2 of their changes. So Binming, since you're joining us for the very first time, I'll say that you are supposed to share your screen and walk us through the issue, and then what is the solution that you're proposing, so that everyone has a context and they can offer their feedback. So I think take the stage. It's all yours.
So actually to explain the issue and to explain how I solve the issue, right?
Yeah, fine, correct.
So it's just like a small box with I think it's with like React Slack. So just a couple of lines of code to add it. And so one problem is the adapter selection drop down in
So sorry to interrupt,
pages.
but it would be helpful if you could start sharing your screen and then
Oh,
speaking.
so I have to share my screen, right?
Yeah,
All right.
that would be helpful.
Ooh. Wait a minute.
Or we can circle back to you just in case you are having issues while sharing.
Okay.
Or I also can share and you can do voiceover if that's something you would want to do.
All right. So yeah, so the issue is so the issue is the drop-down menu is like truncated, so we cannot see the last option in the adapters, in the available adapters. So this option, and the issue is related to the React select. I think we are not like setting up the correct prompts. So I just added the portal rendering option to make so instead of rendering the dropdown within the parent container, I make it I make this dropdown menu render directly in the document body. So which I write the menu portal target to document.body, and I also set the menu portal to be the index 9 to 9999. Which to ensure the dropdown appears above the other UI elements using the index. That's how I do it, which you can see in the code comparison, I guess, in that selection.
Before that, I'll say that it's really nice you also attaching after and before, so that's helpful. And yeah, I'll go to file changes if
and this is how I do it to make it the render parent to the document body.
Hey, thanks. So let's get some feedback on this. So anyone who would want to have any suggestions or feedback, you can sound off now. So we'll wait for 10 seconds.
For me, I think it looks good. There is from my side, I think it looks good. There is no other change should be required. But I'll definitely look again.
Yeah, I have one thing, like if it's not necessary to portal directly to document body, because the issue with this is that now we need to have the max index, because it's now related to the document body, so it will be sibling to every component. So otherwise, if we had it directly inside the parent component, then it would be relative. So like if the same component is now in model, we need to make sure like the z index of model is less than this z index, I think. So if you check that, if it's like possible without like portaling directly to the document body, but just to the parent component.
Does that make sense, Binming?
Kind of.
All right. So I think that would be it. Thanks a lot, Yash and
Okay.
Abid.
Just real quick, Bing Bing, do you want to say more? Do you want to?
So do you guys think do you guys think this is not good? I mean, it's not unnecessary to pull the like rendering parent to document body.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like if you can fix it without doing that, like it would be then better. But like if like it's not like that big of a deal, but like if you can do it without that, then that would be a bit better.
Okay, but but I think the only way is just like make it to the document body. So I mean, I don't know. Yeah, just it's just my guess, I guess.
Thank you, folks. So we will now be moving to your next item. That is again a UI fix, right? I'll be sharing the PR real quick in chat so that anyone can go and take a look. So do you mind speaking to it, Binming?
Yeah, it's also related to React select. So these components, and so this dots or this commas is just related to the indicator separator. So which is a vertical line or dot separator that appears between the drop-down arrow and the main input area by default. So I just make the display to not completely remove it because I think it's I think the dot is unnecessary here.
Yeah, this makes sense. Yeah, this looks fine now.
Yeah, and which makes the whole area cleaner, I guess.
Yeah, this should be good.
Thanks a lot, Abid and Binming. Thanks a lot for your contributions, Binming. All right, let's keep moving ahead, and then we have this item from Ashish. So we do have Ashish on call. So Ashish, like, will you be please going next and sharing your update?
Hi everyone, am I audible?
Yeah, you are. Please, you don't have to ask whether or not you're audible. If you're not, we'll be letting you know.
Okay, can I share my screen now?
I'm sure you once again don't have to ask whether or not you can share your screen. You simply just can go.
Okay.
Ashish. Um,
So I was working on this issue, which basically adds an or command. So right now whenever we use the workspace command, it requires you to have or ID. So for the users, there is no way to know the organization ID. So I have so now there is a proposal to add a new command, which is basically which shows you all the organizations, whether you are using local provider or remote provider. It shows you all the organizations. So I'm right now I'm working on it. It's not fully implemented yet, but the basic structure is there. Also, I'm having some issue with this. So I was also discussing this with Yash, and he
Yeah,
also
actually,
asked me.
yeah, yeah. So we
Yeah,
do. I was
he
just
asked
sharing
me
that.
about to
Go
remove
ahead,
this
please.
struct. Basically, where is that?
Yeah, he's trying to speak right now.
Yes. So he asked me about removing this struct that basically gets that HTTP response and unmarshals this response on this struct. So the data that I get from this Meshery server is basically of type JSON. So it's not a pure like pure slice go slice. So that's why I created a struct here. Just wanted to
Yeah, if we
mention.
create, a quick word, if we create structs, let's make sure that we do it from schema. We're a schema-driven project. We need to use an open API generate tool to help make sure that we're being consistent with our properties and their definition. And you might have done that, Ashish. I'm just highlighting it. I'm not looking for you to respond to it. So don't say something as I switch topics real quick to call Yash Sharma to the stage. He's got a couple of points of feedback, as well as actually I have one question on this command in general, and that is of the commands that we support in Meshery CTL, those constructs should be supported by the local provider. And my memory fails me. Yash, do we support orgs in the local provider?
Yes, we do support orgs in local provider, and we also support workspace and environment. And to create them, we need like org ID. So this command will work for remote provider and local provider for both, and we will not treat any special case like. That's why it will be a single command and return the list of org. That's all, even if you are in local or in remote. So uh, he already raised a PR. We have made, I think he already raised a PR. We already covering all parts. However, yeah, the changes that you suggested for being the schema driven, I have suggested already, and other changes. So hopefully after those changes, we should be good to go. Yeah, one more suggestion, do make sure to write the unit test also so that we can merge it along with that, or you can propose
Yeah,
that
I'll
if we
write
can
the
do it
unit
in the
test.
next iteration. Yeah.
Thank you, Ashish. So any more feedback from anyone? All right. Hey, thanks a lot for your feedback, Yash and Lee. And thank you for this update, Ashish. Next up, we have this item from Yatin on, integrating one of the commands into another. So Yatin, can you now please go next?
Yeah, I will just share my screen. So my issue, like my PR is related to integrating the Meshery CTL system config command into Meshery CTL system start. So like the how the workflow goes is like that if the user is starting the server with integration of like if the user is using the, let's say, Minikube cluster or the GKS or AKS cluster, and then starting the like Meshery server. So first, it will check the workflow that if the user is logged in, then it will directly move on to like the configuring it. And if it is not, if the user is not logged in, then it will first ask the user to log in and then move on to the configuring it to the Meshery server. So I have raised a draft PR here, but I think there was an issue. I think leakcaf974 commented about it here that it is not working on the Docker platform. If Meshery started on Docker platform, so I am working on it right now.
So it was just a question because when we run Meshery STL system start, we could run Meshery server on Kubernetes or Docker. So I just want to ensure that if we choose Docker platform, everything is still working as expected. That was just my concern here. So just validate on your side to test that part before going in.
Yatin, makes sense.
I think I mean I right now I haven't like tested this for the Docker platform, but
Okay, so you'll do
yeah.
it. Good.
I'm sorry.
So good. So you'll do that. Great. I'm just trying to hurry the conversation along. So good. Go test on Docker and good.
Yeah, I will create the test. I will first check if it is all working or not, and then I will just update about it.
Thanks a lot, Yatin. Anything else that you want to ask or?
Oh, I mean, as of now, I have this update only.
Yeah, thanks a lot. So I have dropped a link to Yatin's PR in chat. So if you want to take a look, you can do that. Thanks a lot for your updates.
Thank you.
Yatin. Next up, so we are missing Abhishek, and so we'll be skipping this item. But yep, Souvik is there, and he'll be discussing about these two updates of his. So Souvik, can you please now go next?
Yeah, sure. So I've been working on Rego evaluation trace and the error code and documentation related to importing models. I'll share my screen for the progress I've made so far. All right, so to give you a bit of context, the policy evaluation done by Meshery. We want to debug it in a better way. And to do that, we want to implement a toggle-based system where on the fly, we can enable a debug mode. And based on that, we can capture some evaluation, some trace during the evaluation and uh, perform better debugging on top of that. So this is the Meshery repository where the evaluation endpoint is being triggered. So here uh, I've added a simple check to get. So I've yeah. So right now I'm currently testing out the hypothesis that we have. So I've created an endpoint that toggles the log level on the fly, so we don't need to restart the server. And based on that, if the debug mode is on, then the evaluation is the design evaluation is enabled with is triggered with debug mode on, and now this debug this evaluation happens in the mesh kit, uh, yeah, in mesh kit where we are based on the debug mode, we are enabling the trace and adding a custom tracer. Uh, which is basically a buffer tracer from top-down package, which is also provided by OPA. And then we are sending the trace to the prettifying the trace, and then we are sending it in the response. This is not yet tested. This is something I'll test it, and then from here we can figure out how to show it in the front end, which is not there yet. However, how it will look in the front end. Over here, we will have a toggle. So in case administrator can come over here and uh, turn on or off the debug mode. And based on that, the stack trace will be visible in the notification over here. So that's something I've been working on. Any feedback on that?
Actually, one quick thing is that the trace that you have put it is different like that. The evaluation response or trace, that's our own like policy trace, like which things were changed from the policy. So this one needs to be separate from that.
Sorry, which one? This one, right?
Yeah, the trace that is, this was basically the evaluation trace, but the one that you are setting it to is the actual like relationship evaluation trace, like which components were added, which were removed. So these two are different. So you need to have like a different field there, like maybe debug trace or some other trace, because like those that field is for our own trace that we generate from the policy ourselves.
All right. So I mean, here that I'm setting, this needs to be different, right?
Yeah, right here.
Got it. I'll do that. Noted. So yeah, it's a work in progress. Anything else on this?
Yep. Make sure you're using Meshkit and not putting out errors outside of Meshkit.
Yes, definitely. I'll make that sure.
Okay. The debug mode that you're referring to, it needs to be driven through Meshkit as well.
Yes, I've added a third parameter over here, which is being passed from the Meshery while this evaluate design is being called.
The
So
logging that
inside this,
the logging that you're doing needs to be through Meshkit as well.
yes, got it.
Okay.
I'll do that. Yeah.
The debug mode that Boolean flag, that's probably not an ideal approach. Probably not.
Okay.
There is you're essentially enhancing the level of logs that come out of Meshery server, or the events that come through. And events have different severity levels, or they should. And so perhaps, is there any thought given to something other than a Boolean? But
so you're saying that the log level should be changed for the mesh kit and not the server.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
Yes, I haven't considered that, but I'll do that.
Well, or think about it.
Yeah.
And think about if the debug flag that Meshery server has currently, it sounds like that current flag is not necessarily integrated into the concept of log levels, but essentially debug is a log level. It's the most verbose level of eventing or of logging that we have. So I wonder if it isn't an appropriate time for those two concepts to come together. And if they do, that would be driven from a Meshkit centric perspective, probably.
Got it.
Which is my first couple of points of feedback, is that of what you're writing here, it didn't appear as if are you using Meshkit logging and Meshkit error codes in this code here? It doesn't look like it.
No, not right now.
Okay. So step back from coding and like go focus on Meshkit centric thinking first.
All right.
Because a one-off debug enhancement for the evaluation trace is probably, well, it's good, but it ends up just creating some spaghetti code.
Understood.
Yeah. Good. And so you're clear on the distinction between Rego debug and evaluation debug?
Yes.
Nice. Is the intention for those two things to come together in terms of how they're presented to the user?
It would be, if it's separate, it would be better to go through them.
Would it?
If they are separate, then it would be easier to go through them to debug.
Is it?
Yes, I believe.
Why?
Might be because they are separate, like they are not merged into one.
Yeah, you can't define the thing with the same definition. You said it would be better to have them separate. I said, why? You said because they would be separate, and then they would be not in the same They would be not in the same thing. They would be distinct. It's like, dude, you just said separate 3 times. Think this is something to think about and to understand a little bit better. If you've got a bunch of, how many times do we do evaluations? How many times a second? If they're all separate, perhaps that's a challenge to understand and comprehend what log goes with which evaluation and what evaluation debug goes with what Rego tracer. And it's something to consider. The Meshery events, the V2 that's out there that are defined, I think, within Meshkit, well, they should be, are they have the concept of correlation, which is to say that if there is an event that occurs that maybe Meshery server is running or any of Meshery components, all of them use that central Meshkit library. If they emit an event and then subsequent events are emitted, and those subsequent events are really due to an existing event, they're really correlated and they belong to and they are of the same root cause as a prior existing event. Meshery has the concept of event correlation, which as you think about whether or not traces and those logs are separate or not separate from an evaluation event, an evaluation log, be aware that there's that concept of correlation that could potentially be put to use.
Okay, I was not aware of that. I've noted it.
Yeah, and I think it's just in the concept phase. Like I think that there's just a column for that. Like I don't know that we have code that. Actually, no, we do. I'll point out. Remind me. I'll point out an event that is correlated.
Okay.
Oh, good. I mean, this is needed. This a deeper level of understanding of how relationships are being evaluated. This is very helpful and needed. Can you refresh my memory, just like Yash did earlier? Is as Meshery server performs an evaluation, it leverages a open policy agent library and some policies that have been written in Rego. As the developer experience there, the contributor experience that Meshery has right now, if you make a change to the Rego policy, in order to have that change affected in your actively running Meshery server, you need to reboot the server currently. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I just couldn't remember. Okay.
No. Actually, we don't need to reboot. It's just because we only give the file path to the engine, it
But
automatically takes.
it's a static, right now it's static file over there.
No, like if you edit a Rego file and you have a running server and you do evaluation, it will always take the latest file. Because I checked it previously when I was working with the policy. I never reboot the server. It just works.
That's cool. That's a nice feature of OPA, and I get
Because
why.
like the thing is, right now, one thing what we don't do that can be, I think, potential optimization is that we don't compile the Rego policy. So whenever we evaluate, we have to like compile on the fly. So if we have always like compile them on boot, then we won't have that feature of like hot loading kind of. So yeah, because right now we don't compile the policy, so that's why if we change the file, we will get the latest policy when we're evaluating.
Salvik, this is some great work that you're doing. I thanks for raising up this topic. I know that it's just a work in progress for you, and so it's like a perfect. It's exactly what, at least for my part, I hope that contributors do, which is sort of share early and share often, just so that we can stay aligned in case there is, in case there's a question about separating logs or not, or the certain direction on where something is headed. So this is great.
Right. So another thing that I've been working on is making the error more user friendly so that they can resolve it on their own. Not all the errors, but the errors that are mostly encountered. So while importing models, I came across few errors, which I noticed they point to the documentation where the error code, I believe, doesn't exist. So that's something that needs to be looked into. Like it's meshkit 11159, but I don't think there is anything like that. Yeah. And it's like for multiple, like 11185, it also doesn't exist.
Yeah, I wonder, yeah, that's in the build process for Meshery server. I wonder if the error utility, there's inside of Meshkit as a repository and as a tool, there's a binary called error util. It's homegrown in Meshery project. I wonder if that's not being run. Like that utility, it reads through Meshery's Golang or whatever
Right.
whatever component that you're looking at, and it analyzes whether or not error codes exist or don't exist, and it picks like the next available code and these things. And I wonder if we're not, if our workflows are not being kicked off, if they're not being diligent. Like it seems like we're missing here. Maybe the workflow in if this is a Meshkit specific error, then maybe we would evaluate or take a look at the Meshkit repo first. You're going to be doing a lot with Meshkit. Sounds like that's the
Yes.
okay.
Yes. I'll verify that.
No, I think I noticed it like the error utility workflow was, I think, failing when on PRs, like if on new PRs, I think that's failing.
Could have a conflict with numbering or sequencing.
Thank you for your update, Savik. So it looks like we have Matthew next up on the line. So Matthew, would you please be going next?
Yeah, I don't see how to remove that here.
Can you try resharing?
Yes, it's what I'm trying to do. Okay. Can you see my screen, right?
Yeah, we can. The meeting minutes.
Perfect. So a couple of days, I just started working on this issue. I'm seeing that the unit test for Meshery was not working properly, and it was done after one change has been merged in the branch. So there were previous PR where the word successfully was removed from everywhere, but it was missing in some golden files. So I just remove them here. For this part, I think that now the test is fixed, so I just need to merge this one and the other pull request I have is this one where I am not sure for the fix. This one started the unit test for the design view command started to fail after another PA pull request was merged. So I just tried to fix, but I'm not pretty sure here. Basically, in the previous PA, I saw that this query parameter for the API pattern endpoint was added, and I don't know why in the helpers function here, if we don't put that field in the query string, the tests are failing, but I'm not sure it is a good way to fix that. I asked in the pull request for some feedback, but I think that I didn't remember who raised the peer, but I will need to investigate more with them to
No, like if
fix this the better way.
adding the query parameters could like that populated the pattern file, if it fixed that, then that should be good, because like we might be depending in those tests, we might be using the whole pattern file, and previously there was upgrade in the server, so we don't send the whole pattern file by default now unless that query param is set. So I think yeah, this should be good, like if this fixes it.
Okay, but my only concern here is that the helpers file here, or perhaps it's small for you guys, but the helpers function here, it's not used. It's used for other resources than pattern, so I was not sure here. But if you say it's okay, I'd go with that. Perhaps if
Yeah,
you
it
can
might be like
just
this. The same might be used for, I think, designs and maybe like for catalog and filters. Yeah. Right now,
okay,
this one is, yeah, I think this makes sense. You added this flag here, like conditional, yeah.
perfect. So if it's okay, I'll go ahead. And if I'm right, after the two PA will be merged, all the Meshery CTL unit tests should work afterward. So that's what I have to share today. Perhaps one word when we do pull requests, just have a look on the checks here, validate that the issue, if there is some issue in the test, that it is not related the change we made. So to ensure that if it's working every time, because I started to try to fix, but I was not in the context of the previous PS, so I just lose some time here to find a fix. Yes, that's it.
Yeah. I think is one thing to consider when we make server change, to also check for mesh status. Yeah, makes sense.
Thank you, Matthew and Abid. So, Amit, like, are you all ready to share your screen and give your update? Okay.
Yeah, so I had update of the dashboard resource, the detailed view of these resources that are present on to the tabular view. So it is I changes like in the more detail and the more useful information that the user might want to show. Previously, we saw all of the JSON data by in the tabular view and parsing this data. So I put it on the more detail and the way the more prominent to the details that we use, like the containers, the label detail, and like this is the data based on some of, if there is a node, then the data might look to some different. Also for secrets, like if you want to show the secret, then I added one component that will expose the secret that we had.
I think I like if we'd also have that copy option for that because users might copy it with
Yeah,
that
yeah,
I also.
yeah, with I. Yeah, and also I added those components on the system repo so we can use in the other places that formatter. So in my PR here in the Messery, I use those components from the system, and all of the formatters logic are written onto my system PR. Yeah, that is all.
And like Ankita, one thing like are we tracking like making this whole span the whole tab, whole component, the second nav bar tab and
Yes, that is
okay.
what we're aiming at. I'll have to check why specifically here it's cropped because there's another tab that has a minified view. But then that works fine. This doesn't. I'll have to check this and fix it. That's on my list. Thank you for
You have
highlighting
added
that.
to the system, right? The color change. And
Yes, the colors have been added, the exact gray shades that we needed. We just have to update the modifiers, the tab modifiers inside Systent. They have to use that specific token. And once we release that, it'll reflect here. I'll do that today.
Thank
Actually,
you,
so
Amit. Anything
I
else that you
thought
want to
of
share?
Amit, like if anybody has any feedback for Amit.
Thank you for your update, Amit.
Sorry, Amit, you're going to be hiding the secrets by default?
Yes, yeah, it will be hidden by default.
Oh, nice. Okay. You probably said that earlier. I probably missed it. And so then Abid had said, oh, it'd be nice if people could have a copy to clipboard feature. That sounds great. And I think there's two sort of outstanding requests that maybe you've addressed already. That is to not show any of the model component info because we're sort of showing it implicitly already. Amit,
Yeah, we are not showing more.
Yeah. So if we do show any model or component like Meshery model info, it might just be a hyperlink to, whoops, we lost them. But it might be a hyperlink to the registry. So you could say, oh, hey, how is, for this resource that has been discovered, how is Meshery, what component does this relate to? How is Meshery modeling this resource? But displaying all the internals of it probably doesn't make sense. Anyway, he's not here, so good.
Thank you, Lee. So we are on time, but I wonder if there's anything that needs to be covered in this call.
If you go down a little bit, between Sangram, Yash, and Antoinette, they might have, or Ria.
If it's okay, I want to go ahead.
Yeah, please. Please.
Yes, Sangram, please go ahead.
And you're on mute just in case.
Am I audible?
Yeah, you are now.
I kind of had a question. Is there a use case for revealing the secrets?
I don't know.
Because I mean, from an enterprise perspective, having a copy option to be able to copy it without revealing it is something which is okay. I mean, yeah, you copied it, maybe you copied it to a notepad or something if you want to view it. But unless we really have a use case for it, making it visible there if there is no proper role-based access control, could be a point that enterprises will flag out if they want to kind of use this. Again, just my thoughts based on my experience. But yeah, I mean, there's a use case around it. Sure. Thank you.
Hey, for my part, I totally agree. That, and fortunately, Meshery does have faucets or does have the facility for granular privileges like that. Sangram is, I mean, first of all, so it should be just hidden from view. Granted, if you can copy it, sure, you can go look at it. So it's not, but it's just sort of a matter of respect almost for the, to have it hidden. But much, much more than that, what Sangram is pointing out is like, wait a second, like it is critical that certain users who have a particular responsibility for the infrastructure or for that application, they need to get at the secret and use it and verify and do all kinds of things with it. However, that is a controlled piece of, a controlled capability, And so, yeah, there's probably a couple of boundaries along which that should be controlled. One might be within access to a particular workspace, a number of different, I won't itemize them, but just sort of reinforce that, like, yeah, for sure, right? And without those controls, someone a responsible individual who's working in a large environment and that attempts to use Meshery might walk away with a chuckle and not use Meshery any longer if there aren't controls there, because it's just a sign that it's just a showstopper. So in some respects, better to not make the value available until controls are put around it. Because at least people wouldn't walk away laughing, which is what Sanger's you're kind of pointing out. They would just, it's like, yeah, Meshery, that it's a toy. It's not serious. So I don't know. Maybe we should take action and not make the value available until controls are put there. So I'll take a note and follow up in Slack on it. See. That's really great.
Thank you. Yeah, sorry to interrupt. Please go ahead if you want to.
I was just going to try to cut to the chase on a couple. Ria, you're brand new here. We were so close to getting to your agenda item. Do you want to take a minute? Did you have a suggestion or a question?
Yes, I do have a question. So I was working on this issue. I'll just share my screen. This is the issue that I am working on. So this is basically test for Meshery relationships generate command. What this command does is it fetches data from Google spreadsheet and it saves and processes in a JSON format. So there are two parts to it. One is that I need to check that if the Google API is working fine and we are able to get our data. And the second is that that data is being parsed also. If we see this file, generate.go, it has three major functions. One is this one that checks the credentials. Second is that it gets the relationships data. And third is the actual logic of this command, which is parsing the data and then saving it into a JSON file. So in this, the problem that I'm facing is for these two commands. This is fine. This I can write this. For this, I need to mock the Google API that is suggested in the issue. But the problem here is I have tried three approaches and I'm not able to get through any of them. So one is that we can mock the entire Google Sheets API, which is a problem because it would be like a lot of code. Plus, because the structure of the interfaces are very complex, so it would be very difficult to do that. Plus, we are not like the data that we are getting from Google API, we are not processing it at all. Like we are just checking if it is an error or it is fine. So I don't think so. Mocking here would be a good option, and like mocking the whole interface for just checking if there is an error or not. And if we are mocking it, then obviously we would parse the correct result. So I don't think so. There's any point mocking it. Second, we can use HTTP mock. Now HTTP mock, I tried it, but in somewhere in the code there is a function call where it expects HTTP dot transport something like this, and HTTP mock is giving HTTP mock dot mock transport. So it is a completely different object that it is passing. So our HTTP mock also fails here. And the third thing that I tried was HTTP test. Now HTTP test also is a problem, or maybe I'm not able to implement it because for HTTP test, I cannot mock it the way HTTP mock works. Like I cannot just mock that. I need to define a mock server, call the endpoint, and then get the results, which is not possible in this particular code. So I am looking for suggestions that what can I just write the unit test for this JSON function?
We could focus on the CSV files instead of the Google Sheets API, potentially.
Okay, so I can write the unit test for create JSON file, and we can write integration test for Google Sheets API.
Or skip them. Largely the I guess there are a couple of points of interaction that Meshery CTL has with Google Sheets. The most prominent one is that of downloading the sheet to CSV, and then the rest of the Golang logic from there is parsing a CSV or a CSV interaction, less about the. So I guess what I'm sort of doing is like circumventing the real issue of Google Sheets API and like having tokens available or having them readily handy for like local testing. The Meshery CTL does make updates back into that Google Sheet. So it is, it can be quite important that those things are being tested and verified, that, it's not deleting things or overwriting things that it shouldn't be. I might have missed it. Was your challenge was around token access, or was it around like the inability to script over Google Sheets API?
It was the problem was to mock the Sheets API. Basically, fetching the data so we are just providing an endpoint, and that endpoint fetches the relationships data from a spreadsheet. So, like mocking that request is my challenge.
Yeah, but wait a second. I don't know if I could be missing exactly what. There's no need for us to test Google's Sheets API in any way at all.
Yes, that's what I am also thinking, that I don't think so we need to test that. I can write I can test.
I'm afraid that your voice is breaking up, Riya.
Ria, you want to try one more time? You were saying you agree we don't need to talk about Google Sheets API. Great. We missed the second part of what you said.
I'm sorry, can you please repeat?
All right, good. So we don't need to worry about testing the Google Sheets API, or
Yes.
The second part of what you said.
I'm saying that we can just test this particular function, create JSON file, which is the main part of this command, the main logic of this command.
Yeah, especially if the JSON file. What file is that? Are you talking about the CSV, or is that a different?
It is the JSON file, relationships data. It produces relationships data. Shall I show that file as well?
Oh, okay. So this is for No, I got it.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, good. Yeah, for my part, Vivek, do you have a different piece of feedback that the proposal to focus on the relationships data.json makes sense? What Ria, who opened the issue and what's the point? We're just making sure we have test coverage for functionality that we support. Is that it?
Yes, exactly. Actually, in the issue, it was mentioned that specifically in the implementation details that I have to mock the Google Sheets API, and that's why I wanted to confirm, since like I don't feel there isn't any point of mocking it, so that's why I wanted to confirm since it was like mentioned in the issue.
Very good. Do we have the person that opened the issue on the call?
Yeah.
Oh, there she is. All right. Ijoma, there she is. Cool. Yeah, Ijoma, please continue.
Yeah, I need to look at the issue. I think it's been a long time.
Sure. It sounds like Ijoma will probably follow up. She'll take a look, follow up in Slack and see if
Yeah,
All
we
right.
just started a conversation. I'll take a look and get back to you. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thanks a lot, everyone. So we are like 30 minutes over, and before we wrap this call up, I'll be quickly sharing with you the community calendar. So all the weekly meetings that we have, whether they are community or project meeting, you can catch up with all of them. And yep, if you're looking for getting an overview on the various community roles and areas where you can contribute, and also which projects are there and their tech stack, who are the person you can reach out to, make sure that you join us on our next newcomers meeting. That would be tomorrow on Thursday. Once again, you can find the meeting minutes and link through this page itself. That is the community calendar that is attached in the chat. With that, I thank you once again, everyone, for joining this call and participating. We'll see you next Wednesday. Till then, bye.
Bye all. See you guys.